Hi everyone, Chris Anderson with Mount Comfort RV. Well, we're here with another video. These are always popular ones. We're in a New Aire. This is a 2022 Newmar New Aire. This is the 3543 floor plan. Now, this is the most dramatic colors that we do on the New Aire. We have obviously a very light interior here, and we have the Tuscan cabinetry in the high gloss, which really, if you like something dramatic when you walk in, that's what you're going to get here. There's just a huge contrast with these, and it really makes a great looking coach. Beautiful floor in here as well. Get a good shot of that. Of course, that is a heated tile floor, so that's kind of a little preview of the colors we're going to be looking at today. We'll start up in the cockpit area. So I'll take a seat here. It's very ergonomically friendly here. Everything is laid out well. It's comfortable. This seat is huge, and it's literally a seat you could sit in all day if you wanted to. Of course, we have tilt and telescoping wheel. That's done with my left foot down there, and then this does telescope up and down also to find your perfect spot. What I like about it is when you're done driving, you go to get out of the seat, you can just hit that, it gets out of the way, throw the arm up, and you have an easy exit in and out of this driver's seat. From here, obviously, since the New Aire came out, they've just made little tweaks to make the cockpit just that much more comfortable and well laid out. To the driver's left, you have anything from your hydraulic leveling system back here, your transmission control panel, heated mirrors and your mirror adjustments here, your traction control, engine brake, power window, and it is a power window. Most motorhomes do not have a power driver's window, are all right here. Then we have two places for our favorite beverages. Move over here, we have headlights control, our battery boost switch, our dome light that's above my head, and then this coach even has auto dimming high beams. So if you're running with your high beams on and that switch is on, when another car comes at you, it will automatically dim those lights. You can see I've got my phone sitting here on the, that's a charging pad, so that's a great place for that. I took one of these on a long trip at one point, and this needed to be moved a little bit. The original spot for that was like up here, but it was a really sunny day. And so between the sun that was coming in the window and the fact that the phone was charging, when I went to pick up my phone, it was, way hotter than it should be. So I was glad to see they actually moved this down here so it's not in the direct sunlight like that. So headlight control for just on and off is here, and then of course your air brake control is next to it. Your cruise control is on the turn signal stock. If you've ever driven an older General Motors product, that's pretty much the same stock that came out of there. Could not be easier, and like I said, if you've ever had an older GM, you know exactly how to work that one. It'll be very comfortable for you. We can answer our phone here on the steering wheel and control our wiper blades. And then, of course, the New Aire does have a digital dash, and all of our controls for the digital dash and what we can scroll through there, anything from our comfort drive settings to your trip odometer and stuff like that, that can all be controlled right here with your right hand as you're going down the road. New Aire has the nicest size monitors in the Newmar lineup. Those are just huge. I believe they're over 10 inches if I remember correctly. But when you're sitting here looking at them, they are noticeably bigger than anything else we have as far as the monitors go. You can see I've got a little bit of a weird view here, but that's just because that's our backup camera, and I have the trunk open, if you will, or the hood, you might say, because the engine's in the back, so that's the engine cover. It's standing straight out like this, and that's why you see that there. We can change camera views here by going to camera control, and I can switch over here and we can kind of see my favorite view is kind of the 360 view of the motorhome. And so when people walk around that, or you're getting close to something in the parking lot, you can definitely see how close you are to it, or more importantly, maybe even the fuel station. That's the most likely spot for you to get in trouble and get into something that you shouldn't. So nice to have that 360 camera in those slow speed situations. Of course, our HVAC controls are pretty standard right here in the middle, but what makes the New Aire nice is it does have control for the passenger as well over to the right of the passenger seat. So those controls, we'll get a shot of that real quick. So you can have his and hers controls there. And that makes everybody happy. Now, one nice feature they did add to this as well, let's say somebody jumps in this coach and the passenger isn't there, but they left the setting on a setting that was too hot or too cold for the driver, you can actually just hit this override button right here, and then all of the controls are controlled right here in the center, so it makes it nice. Don't hit that if your wife's sitting in the seat. She's going to get mad at you if you start jacking with her controls there, so don't be doing that. Here in the center, we have anything from our adjustable pedals to our visors up front here, visors and shades up front, our docking lights so we don't run into the picnic table, our overhead fans. Those are hidden, but they're extra defroster fans up in the middle there. Our high, medium, and low for the overhead fans is right here as well. And then we have our generator start and stop, air horn. Again, I don't know why they put an air horn switch on there, just make it on all the time. Our entry door locks are here, and even a passenger side visor switch as well. And then we have two nice little drawers right here in the center console. So when you look down into the step well there, you do have some storage underneath each of those steps, but also that step well has a Corian cover that comes out, so the passenger's feet are not dangling over the step well. We optioned in the monitor here, so the passenger has control of the GPS and can actually see the GPS. You know, it's nice when your navigator can actually see the same thing you are, or if you decide to change destinations a little bit, add a stop, something like that, the passenger can do it, because otherwise, with the way they have this dashboard contoured, the passenger has trouble even seeing the GPS that's showing up on the screens here. So two heads are better than one, and that's what makes that extra monitor nice. There is a little charging station, a wireless charging station for the passenger's phone here as well. And then an outlet here that's going to have USB and 120 volt outlets right there. So everybody's got real good access to everything up front. Now the driver passenger seats do spin around and become part of the living area. On a 35-foot coach, I think that's very important. I've said many times, I don't know how many times people actually spin their seats around when you have a 43, 45-foot motorhome. But when you have a 35-foot motorhome, I think it's probably a lot more often that you would be spinning these around and making them part of the living area. So they made them extra comfortable seats, and they both have recliners built into them, so it's not like you feel like you're sitting in a driver's seat sitting there. You're actually sitting in a nice recliner chair, and that makes everything very, very nice. We'll get into some of our cabinetry and features up front here. These first two are just storage. So we try to give you every little cubby hole we can. These are carpeted up in there, and notice the doors stand up on their own because they are on struts. Okay, again, storage here, and we do have our Wi-Fi Ranger up there. That's a Wi-Fi extender, if you will, and it also has the capability that you can purchase data from like AT&T and use the cellular network if you have bad Wi-Fi. So that's a nice setup right up in that cabinet. When we get to the center here, this is where all of the goodies are for a lot of our controls inside and outside of our coach. The popular ones that you're going to need are up here. Now, this is your Girard awning control, so that's going to control your main two awnings and the LED lights that are on them. Basically, the entire side of this coach is the Girard Nova awning package. Your Winegard antenna that you see here, that's your digital antenna. That's going to help you dial in your digital channels, and that antenna is a fixed antenna, but it is programmable, so it can actually scan and tell you about how many channels you're going to get there. Then you see optional equipment here. Well, we have a satellite system on here as well. So this coach has the in-motion satellite dish on it. You can turn that on and off right here. Miscellaneous equipment like your Wi-Fi router, your entry step, and your exterior LED. We'll show you that when we get outside. That's here. Your front two slide room controls are here. Over the door awning, privacy drapes, and security lights are all in here as well. So not to bore you too much with everything, but sometimes people just like the details. And then under this one, again, this door will hold itself up, and we have great storage in there. And just like you might expect, the passenger side here is very similar to the driver's side. These are just little storage cubbies. We do have little receivers for those are your receivers for your Girard awnings, but if you wanted to store some small items in here, you certainly could. All of the lighting in this coach is controlled with these little touch panels that you see, and you can kind of scroll through here. It's a nice little menu from your ceiling lights, bathroom lights, bedroom lights, so on and so forth. And then my favorite feature of this is the all lights on and all lights off feature. If you're walking out of the coach and you left a light on somewhere in the back, you just hit the all lights off. It's going to take care of it. When you walk into a dark coach, you can just hit the all lights on. It's going to turn on all of the ceiling lights, not every light in the coach, but all of the ceiling lights, so you would be able to see all the way to the back. Then then little features, you can hit the home screen here. You can control your shades from this. You can control your fans, like your fantastic fans. When you go to systems, that's a neat one because you're going to see in there the TV up and down. So we'll hit TV up. All right, and right on cue, our TV is coming up out of the televator. All right, we'll go back a screen there, and you can even look at monitor panel on here. So, you know, that tells you where your batteries are, how much charge they have, and more importantly, what's in your holding tanks. So there's a lot of information you can get, and there's probably, I don't know, 5 of these little panels throughout the coach. Your window awnings are here as well. So, you know, you can put all those in or out. We'll run some of those out. I can hear it running. So we'll look at those when we go to the outside of the coach as well. But there's a lot of different things you can control from these little menus. And like I said, there's 5 or 6 of them located throughout the coach. Primarily they're for lighting, but there are, as you've just seen, there are other things you control from there as well. All right, let's take a look at how we configure this coach, because there are different options we can do here. This one has the hide-a-bed sofa in it. So this sofa does fold out to sleep 2 people. So this coach will sleep 4 people total. And then across from that, we did the Euro dinette, which is the most comfortable dinette that we have. Sometimes people don't like a booth, but sometimes they're judging by booths of the past as well. I'll admit, when we build this out of plywood and cheap foam, they're not great booths, but that's not the case here. This is real furniture. And when you sit here, there is plenty of room here, even for those of us who carry a few extra pounds. Plenty of room for me to sit here and eat comfortably. This table does pull out. There is a leaf for it as well. But when it's just 2 people here, these are nice and comfy. And if you did have some guests over and you end up sitting here having a nice conversation, again, with the way that cushion rounds into there, very comfortable seating. The 3543 has a fireplace that a lot of people just love. This can be just turned on for ambiance like we have it now, or you can actually use this to heat. So there's a handful of ways we can heat this motorhome, fireplace being one of them, to just kind of take the chill off. Obviously, that's not going to heat it in the dead of winter, but like I said, if you're just taking the chill off, fireplace is a wonderful option. And above that, whether you use this as kind of a dry bar, or whether you use this as a little extra pantry, or to show off your knickknacks, that's up to you. But those are adjustable shelves. They're all lined. That's a nice looking spot. Now above the sofa, okay, this is all kind of one storage spot through here. So all of that is one big spot that's all lined and carpeted, and the doors hold themselves up, so you can fit bigger items in there than what the actual doors appear to have. One nice thing with the 2022 New Aire are the windows in the main living area are bonded windows. Okay, so this is like what you would find on a Prevost bus. You know, this is a bus style window here. You know, normally you have screens, you have a divider, maybe multiple dividers in there. This is like a windshield, and you know, most of us, we want to be RVing because we want to go out and see the country. There's no better way to see the country than through these bonded windows. Now, if you do want to have a breeze, that's no problem. There are 2 fantastic fans in this coach that pull a bunch of air if you need fresh air. So I know sometimes people want to open every single window, but you have a screen door at the front of the coach. You open that main door, pull your screen down so you have your screen door, turn on these negative pressure fans, and I promise you, you're going to feel a breeze being pulled through this coach. So you can definitely get fresh air when you want it. Most people find they really don't do that often. They're either running heat or air conditioning, one or the other. I'm going to bring the TV back down because the window behind there is also a bonded window. So I kind of want to show you that. We'll bring the TV down. There we go. And again, another nice bonded window here. And this one's maybe even more important because this is looking out over your campsite. You know, this is where your friends and family will be. This is where your picnic table, this is where your fire ring will be. And this is the important side of the coach to be able to look at it and look at that window. There's just a phenomenal view. And then real quickly, we're gonna get a shot of the kitchen window, which is also a bonded window. All right, now these booths do have storage underneath. We have like a little magazine storage here, and then a little tray there. Same thing on this side. All right, so these tuck away. Let's go to the kitchen. So here we have a single bowl undermount sink with a pull down sink sprayer. So it makes cleaning up pretty easy. And even if you have a larger pan, because it's a single bowl sink, you can fit larger items in there. For the kitchen storage here, we have a nice pull-out tray there. Watch, that's soft close, so that'll pull itself back in. And then both of these shelves are adjustable shelves, so you can set them to have your glassware on the bottom and plates on top, or vice versa. We have a 30-inch Samsung convection microwave oven, so it cooks like an oven or it cooks like a microwave. Either one, just depends on how you do the settings. People always ask me pricing, and if it's a current model year item, like a 2023 in this case, I can't give you anything but the MSRP, but in this case, we can break it all down for you. This has an MSRP of $628,000. We have a sale price of $484,994. Part of our St. Patty's Day celebration. By the way, we are, for St. Patty's Day week, especially on like Friday and Saturday, we're going to be having special celebrity guests local to our area. Rupert is going to be here, a couple of IndyCar drivers. I know Tony Kanaan is going to be here this weekend. That's an Indy 500 winner. Connor Daly is going to be here this weekend. I think he's running his 100th race. So not 100th, 500, he's not that old. But I think he's running his 100th overall IndyCar race. So those of you in the Indianapolis area that are watching this, you want to come in for a little meet and greet, we can do that as well. So stay tuned for more information, and if you check our website, we're going to have all kinds of information on here about that. Some of the details on this coach while I'm looking at it, this is on a Spartan chassis. I forgot to mention that. A New Aire comes available on a Spartan or a Freightliner, either one. This particular one is on the Spartan chassis. The exterior is called Kingsley. That's the outer exterior paint package. The interior decor is called Sparta. And I said we have the Tuscan maple hardwood package on here in the high gloss. So that's some of the details on how we have equipped this coach. Let's look at some of our lower storage in the kitchen. Okay, a spot for a trash can. How many times is that neglected in RV world? Okay, and right here, that's all lit up in there. There's room for to store your sink and stove covers in here as well. By the way, this is, I forgot to mention, this is an induction cooktop. Okay, let me pick these up. All right. So that induction cooktop can be taken out of there and put outside if you want. And then on the back of these covers, if you look, there's actually cutting board on there as well. So you can flip them over and use them as a nice little prep station. All right, drawers galore. So 4 drawers in this coach. Everything is soft close in here. You get it close, it's going to pull itself the rest of the way in. Everything is full extension. These are dovetail. If you get a shot of that, Troy, these are all dovetail drawers. Most motorhomes do not have cabinetry like this. Same thing here. Look at the dividers built into that. It's just beautiful cabinetry from our folks up in Napanee, Indiana. All right, so I think that covers most of the main kitchen area. As we continue back, we have a Samsung refrigerator with LED lights and a pull-out freezer below. It's actually on. I can feel the cold air coming out of there. Somebody could have left me an ice cream bar or something. And then our pantry, fully lit, 6 pull-out drawers. And again, all dovetail construction in here. The New Aire is just a beautiful coach. All right, so that finishes off the kitchen area. Let's talk about our bathroom. Now, we do a lot of these big coaches that are bath and a half buses, and that's why they're 40 and 43 feet long. New Aire is not that. New Aire is designed to be a little smaller, but yet have a luxury feel, like a Mountain Aire or a London Aire, something along those lines. That's what you're getting with it. It's very adequate. Is it as big as like the 4369 bathroom where 3 of us could shower in there? Absolutely not. But again, you're not driving such a beast down the road either. Plenty of room in here. This is all beautiful tile with a River Rock floor in here. We have a rain shower head above, a handheld. We do have for shampoo, body wash, conditioner, all of it's here. We even have a seat built into this as well. Look at the drain in the shower there. That's a nice drain. So, beautiful shower. Plenty of room in and around the toilet area here. We do have our emergency egress door here as well. So instead of going out a window head first, you can simply pull this handle. A ladder telescopes out the bottom of this door. If you want to see this door in action, we've done other videos on this. Don't hesitate, just go to YouTube, type in Mount Comfort RV, Newmar emergency egress door. You're going to find the video on that where we demonstrate it and everything. We just don't want to take up the time to do that on every single video. Look at the storage in this bathroom. Medicine cabinet, There we go. I love the lights built in. Then storage down below. Oh, sorry, I reached right in front of the camera. Get another shot of that. Did we get it? Sorry. True professionals here. All right, and down below the sink as well. This is a macerating toilet, which simply think of a macerator like a garbage disposal. Everything gets ground up, so waste breaks down so much better with a macerating toilet. So it gets ground up and pushed to the holding tank, and that's just going to make things so much better when you go to dump later. All right, come on back to the bed. Oh, by the way, this is a pocket door in here, so this comes in handy, and this is a solid pocket door. How many things do you see in RVs that they're cheap and they're hollow? That door weighs like 50 pounds. I mean, it's a ridiculously heavy-duty door. It locks in the all the way open or closed position. But the reason I point this out is even when the slides are in, there's not a door to swing outwards or anything. You know, you just walk right into the bathroom and slide the door closed. So pocket door makes a lot of sense on this floor plan. So one of the things that makes a New Aire is the Silverleaf system. Now I mentioned earlier that we have all of these little lighting panels around that you can see a lot of information and everything on there, and control some of your blinds and stuff like that. But your master control, if there is a true master control for this coach, is going to be right here in the hallway next to the bathroom, the Silverleaf system. Now Silverleaf comes on all of the Newmar products from New Aire on up. So the New Aire, the Mountain Aire, London Aire, Essex, and King Aire all use this electronic system. So there's so much you can do with this. It's extremely programmable system, and they've been using it for years and years and years, and it just keeps getting more and more integrated into the coach. So a lot of things to talk about here. First of all, it is a pretty simple system to use. You know, you have your home screen here. It's basically menu based off the left-hand side. By the way, they did put in, I like this feature because it didn't used to have this. See the little light bulb up there getting dimmer? Sometimes people thought it was a little bright at night, so you know it doesn't seem that bright right now, but when it's the only light on in the coach and it's dark outside, it was a little too bright, so you can dim it down a little bit. But we'll go to our home screen here, which is what we're on, and it's going to tell us, no, we're not, we're on climate. There we go, that's home screen. So this is going to tell us all the basic information we need to know on a regular basis with our coach. We walk by, we can see if we're running out of fresh water or if our black or gray are getting too full and we need to get ready to dump holding tanks. That's probably the most frequent thing you would look at here. Knowing where your house and chassis batteries are, that's extremely important as well. If you're plugged in, you assume they're always full, but it's good to verify that. If you're boondocking, you need to know where they are. And then when you're plugged into shore power, you need to know how much power is coming in. If you're on a 50 amp service, that has 2 legs of 120 coming into the coach, and you would see that here. Well, you can see we have 0 amps here. We're actually on a 30 amp service right now, so we only have 1 leg coming in. That's why you don't see any amp load on the second leg. It doesn't have a separate second leg. But if we were plugged into 50, you would have an amp load on both of those settings there. We go in, we all get deeper into the weeds on our power. You can see right here, it shows us the amount of power when I press AC power that's coming into the coach, and it recognizes that we are on a 30 amp service. We can control our inverter from here as well. Our DC current, this tells us basically how our battery is being charged. We're on a float charge now, which is just kind of a maintenance charge, if you will, not a massive charge. If it was really low batteries or something, it would say bulk charging. It would be given a lot more amperage than that. We can control our generator and even our auto generator start features from this screen here. And then water, get a little bit more in depth there on our holding tanks. And then this even has a feature called autofill, where if the night before you're getting ready to hit the road and you're hooked up at the campground, but you know tomorrow's your day you're hitting the road, well, you turn on the top off now on the autofill here. And when you wake up the next morning, you're gonna have a full tank of fresh water without even doing anything. So nice feature there. And then most importantly, we have our climate control here, where we can do our heating, our cooling. We control our Oasis system here, which is our primary heating system on this coach. That can be controlled from here as well. There are 2 roof air conditioners with heat pumps, and this is where you control all of that. And then block heater and floor heat. Well, our block heater would be used if it's really cold outside, and again, we're leaving tomorrow morning, turn that block heater on. It's going to make life a lot easier on that engine. It's going to start a lot smoother. It's going to run a lot better when it's when it's a really cold day. And also, I know this from having a diesel pickup truck, you'll have dash heat a lot quicker if you have that block heater plugged in than if it's just a frozen popsicle out there. It'll still start if your batteries are fully charged, but it won't like it. So block heater is a nice feature on really cold days. If you're doing this right, you shouldn't be having really cold days. Take it to Florida or Arizona or something like that. You won't be cold. But the other feature is the floor heat. That is controlled from here as well. It's a 3-zone system, so kind of front of the coach, middle of the coach, back of the coach. You can control all of that from here. And lastly, cameras. We can kind of go cycle through our different cameras here and see all around our coach, which is a nice security thing. If you heard something go bump in the night, you can kind of cycle through these and get a pretty good view about what's going on around your coach. So that's a little bit about the Silverleaf system, and we'll move on from there. As we come back to the bedroom, we find a second pocket door. Okay, this is all padded, kind of a nice look there. And that closes off the bedroom whenever you want some privacy back here. This is a king-size bed, and it does lift up for storage underneath it. There we go. There's actually 2 leaves with this. I say it comes with a leaf. It gets 2. Now how much would you pay? So nice storage under here. We'll bring this down. Your windows in and around the headboard there are all the bonded windows as well. Of course, all these windows have shades. And we have a little bit of storage up above the bed there. I'm not going to crawl across the bed to open those, but you can see those cabinets. And then let's get to some of our other storage. On either side of the nicely finished off TV here, Samsung TV, by the way, name brand appliances, you have good storage on either side. And then we have 6 drawers below, 3 like this, and 3 that are just a little deeper that way. We do step back now because this coach has a ridiculously large engine in it for the size of the motorhome, a 35-foot coach with 450 horsepower. That's hard to find. You do have a small step up back here. That's simply to make room for the engine. It is the only reason we put a step up in here, because just put a beast of an engine back there. All right, stackable washer dryer, the Splendide brand. And then let me open this closet. It's unlocked. Here we go. The light comes on automatically. There are 2 chairs in here that are finished in the same wood and upholstery as the rest of the coach. There's a safe back in that corner as well. That LED light came on automatically when I opened the door. And then if we open this up, that's how neat Newmar does their wiring. Get a shot down here of this. I mean, this is just not what you normally see in the RV world. Everything is super well tied down, nicely loomed together. Very residential look, but like the world's neatest electrician made it, not something that's all cobbled out. So this is kind of what our motorhome looks like with the slides open. Let's close it up and show you what we have when we're going down the road. Okay, so the slides are in. I'm back in the bedroom. The entire bed is available to me, so if I wanted to lay down and take a nap while we're going down the road, that could certainly be done. Back here, to get to the pantry, you're actually better off to kind of be on this side of the pantry, but I could get to anything in here. I'm reaching all the way to the back of it without a lot of effort in here, so not bad there. The refrigerator, you kind of have to do the dance one side to the other. So now I can get to anything in here. If I come to this side, now I can get to anything in here. Okay, and then for freezer, you just stand off to the side, and I could literally get to anything down in the very bottom corner of that I could reach. The bathroom is a piece of cake. I mean, you know, you don't even have to turn sideways to come into the bathroom. Plenty of room in the kitchen area here going down the road. The choke point is right here because of the depth of the sofa. It's big residential style furniture. So because of that, we are a little tighter here, but not bad. I'm gonna say B minus C plus for this. I'm kind of doing the sideways shuffle there a little bit right in here, but it's really not even a big deal to go from one end to the other. You wouldn't want to try to pass people here. I mean, it is one of those where if 2 people were gonna pass each other, somebody's gonna have to take a seat at the booth while the other one goes past. You certainly have that going on, but it's really not tight at all as far as one person. You're just kind of doing the sideways shuffle through here. So that's what we have with the slides in. Let's take you on a tour of the outside of this motorhome, show you some of the storage features that it has. Okay, so a few nice features right here at the front of the coach. One that's hard to show from the inside, but I just love the little storage cubbies that we have right here. I say any little items, the dog leash, the extra pair of flip-flops, anything like that, great spot for it right here in the doorway. I mentioned earlier that you have a screen door. Okay, so the screen pulls down out of the top here. Let me show you. All right, like so. So you do have a screen door. All right, and then you have your main entry door as well. But be careful not to accidentally lock yourself out of your coach. Wait, it's not really a problem. Okay, we're back in again, just that easy. So many coaches don't have a keyless entry system on them. And let's face it, who wants to keep track of your keys all the time? And accidents happen. So nice setup there. By the way, if you're walking away from your coach, you just kind of hold in on one. Okay, you heard 2 clicks there. I hope that came through the microphone. But the first click was the door locking. Second click was all the compartment doors locking if they were closed. They're open now, but if they were closed, they all locked as well. And that, again, makes it super easy. Anybody that's owned a motorhome where you have to go around and every single time with the usually kind of a janky lock, go through and lock and unlock those baggage doors, it's a complete pain. So I like just being able to punch in my number here. Oops, wrong code. There we go. So now we've unlocked it again and we're good to go. So makes life super simple. All right, so we talk about it on most of these coaches. It's the masterpiece finish with the diamond shield up front to protect against the bugs and that type of thing. We did option in the flagpole holder here as well. There's cameras all over this bus. There's a total of 7 cameras on this bus. We have our normal backup camera. We have our turn signal activated blind spot monitors to where when you go to change lanes on the interstate, you turn on your turn signal, it's going to show you if there's a little car hiding in your blind spot here. And then we have the 4 cameras that make the 360-degree camera I showed you earlier. We did also option in the stainless steel package on here, which is what gives all this mirrored finish both on the steps, underneath the steps, and all the way down the side of the coach. We'll get some shots of that once we bring the slide, or once we close all these compartment doors. Of course, it's dual fuel fill. You can put fuel, it's one single tank, but you can fuel it from either side. And look at those gorgeous aluminum rims. They look good and they stay cool better because aluminum dissipates heat better than steel. Heat is your enemy when you're going down the road when it comes to your tires. We have a pull-out refrigerator or freezer here. This can be set to do either one. That's your choice. You can kind of see down inside here. If you just want to use this to keep the drinks cold, that's great. If you want to use it to keep the ice cream frozen and have some extra freezer space from inside, you can do that as well. Even if this slide were fully extended, you can still get into this freezer. So, good setup there. Okay, get that out of the way. All right, we'll shut that compartment. We're going to move back a compartment here. This is a partial pass-through all the way across here. So if you have long items, boat oars, fishing poles, anything like that, maybe a collapsible ladder, that would be a wonderful spot to put it in here. You see the lighting that is shining there. So anytime any compartment door is open, it's like the refrigerator. The whole thing lights up whenever any compartment is open, and nice LED lighting, but not blinding you. It's kind of always shining towards the inside, which makes it nice. There's another LED light. I can't really show it here. It's on the bottom of this slide out. So when this slide is open, you actually have light shining down in this area here. So nice setup. This compartment here is huge. This is where this is the belly of the beast and what makes a New Aire a New Aire. This has as much storage as like a 40-foot motorhome has in it because of the way they did the chassis and eliminating that center rail. So that is just a huge amount of storage. It's very tall and most of it is passed through. We did option in one tray on here, and it is the electric tray. They relocated this button a couple of years ago to out here on the door as opposed to in there somewhere. Makes it so much easier to get to. And these open like barn doors, so it's just, man, that's big. So we did option in the outside TV as well. This pulls out and can swivel either direction. Again, everything is name brand. We have Samsung television, we have a Bose sound bar, and of course that's a beautiful painted door as well. When you're done down here, these shut like barn doors. The left one shuts first, then the right one. All right, we'll shut this also. All right, let's move back. We have another storage cubby here. This is all carpeted, all lined. I always like to point out on a Newmar diesel the thickness of this floor because this is where they just crush the competition. See how thick that floor is? Okay, that floor is like this thick. So many manufacturers use a 1/4 inch or less flooring, whether it's a rotocast plastic or they use a steel pan in here, and this is insulation that's in here. You know, underneath in the basement of this coach is where your holding tanks are, it's where your water lines are. If those freeze up, because it doesn't really matter whether they freeze because the sidewalls were thin or whether the floor was thin, you're only as strong as your weakest point when it comes to insulation, and you want that very well insulated. This is where, if you're considering a different coach, go check that out, because they'll show you that their baggage door is nice and thick. What they won't show you is that their floor is not, and that's a big difference in a Newmar product. Another big difference, oops, there we go, is the sidewall is recessed, the slide out rather, is recessed into the sidewall. That just makes for a much better fit. You're not going to have wind noise, you're not going to have water penetration. It's just a much better look and a much better overall fit. As we move towards the rear of the coach, this is another, now look how funny shaped that is, but they're literally going out and around the engine compartment, and Newmar was able to design that to give what ends up being a really nice storage cubby here. Oops, gotta be firm with Newmar doors, especially when they're new. All right, back in this area, this is kind of a service compartment here. Spartan does a great job of making your filters and everything accessible. These are your chassis filters, like your air dryer, your water separator, fuel filter, that type of thing. It's all in this compartment, and they're very easy to get to. You don't have to crawl under the coach, and so most end users really appreciate that. These are the chassis batteries, and then these are circuit breakers that if you're putting your coach into storage and you're not going to be plugged in, you'll want to kick those off. They disconnect everything from these batteries. Now, while we're talking about storage, a New Aire has a lot of electronics on it. You have a Silverleaf system on the inside. You have a lot of big screens, monitors, cameras, that type of things. A lot of things that have a big draw to them as far as amperage goes. Well, if you can't plug a New Aire in when you put it in storage, you maybe should consider a coach with less electronics on it. Maybe a 37-foot Dutch Star, a 34 or 37-foot Ventana, or even a 34 or 37-foot Country Star if you're really looking to keep the size down and still keep a Newmar. But when you go to this level of electronics, it's really a coach that should be plugged in, or else it will drain the batteries in not that long a time. Now, we opened up a lot of the awnings and everything here. So you can see there's LED lights on all of these. We have window awnings. We have our main two Girard Nova awnings up top. We have our over-the-door awning. I mean, it's hard to stand out here and get wet. On the driver's side of the coach, let's go through these compartments as well. Now, this one is almost more of a serviceability compartment than anything else. So we have a little ripcord we pull in here to get to our generator. By the way, this is an 8 kW Onan diesel generator. Is there room up here? We might have room up here. Let's see. Will it open? There's the question. Oh, look at this. We're going to just enough room. Sometimes when we put coaches on the showroom floor, we literally don't have enough room to get in there. But there's your Onan generator, like I said, 8 kW. Our air horns are in here. If you see that little red spigot handle down there, that's a hot water to generator line. So that's going to be hot water up here to clean your windshield with. Most motorhomes do not have that. So just wanted to be able to take a second and show you the generator, because like I said, a lot of times, if it's a 45 footer, I don't have room to get that open. So glad we were able to show that. This is chassis electronics here. You have your chassis fuses. Newmar was kind enough to give you some spare fuses there, just in case you ever do pop one. But that's the primary purpose of this. If you did want to store something in here, like I saw the window washer tank was up front there. If you want to keep a bottle of window washer fluid in here, as long as the lid's on it good and tight, you could certainly do that. All right. Moving back, I mentioned earlier dual fuel fill. Well, there's the other half of that. Now this tray here has 8 6-volt AGM, that stands for absorbed glass mat batteries, and those are on a pull-out tray. Of course, I said 6-volt, but they're wired in such a way that they are putting out 12 volts. I always forget. It's either series or parallel. I've looked it up 100 times. My brain doesn't keep that information. But at any rate, it's a 12-volt coach, but they do it by using pairs of 6-volt batteries. Moving over here, this little cubby right here, that's just for your sewer hose. You can kind of peer in there, that big white box that you see there, that's your inverter. That's a 3,000 watt Xantrex inverter. and that will pretty much run anything except for the microwave, the air conditioner, or anything that heats. Like the heated floor will not run off of that. But other than that, you can run just about everything off of the inverter. We'll come back a compartment. Lots to see here. So we have a 50 amp service on this coach, and that's on a power reel here, so you're not going to be wrestling that hose. Just above that, you're going to see your central vac. There's a hookup on the inside where you can hook up the hoses that come with this and reach all the way to the front or the back with the central vac. I didn't really show that on the inside, but trust me, it's in there. And then we didn't talk about it, but this is an all-electric motorhome, and what makes this an all-electric motorhome is the fact that you have the Oasis Chinook system here. The Oasis system is a hydronic heating system. It's a brand name. Oasis is a brand name. Hydronic heating is a way of heating a motorhome and heating your water. Now, it's fired primarily off of diesel fuel, but will run off of electric as well. And it's unlimited hot water, so as much hot water as you can use in a motorhome, it will keep you hot, so you can take a 45-minute shower if you want to. That's no problem at all for it while doing a load of laundry. So that's not something you can do in most RVs, but also it's your primary heating system of the coach. There's heat exchangers located throughout the coach that a glycol is circulated to, and those heat exchangers will keep you warm. That is your primary heating system, so if it's below 40 degrees, that's how you're heating your coach. Now, there are 2 roof air conditioners on this coach, and they are also heat pumps, so if it's above 40 degrees, you can heat with a combination of your heated floor, your fireplace, and or your heat pumps. You can do all of those if it's above 40 degrees. But if it drops below 40 degrees, none of that stuff is going to get it done. You're going to want to go to your primary heating system, which is your Oasis system. Our next compartment is what we call our wet bay. Now, our wet bay is a heated compartment, so any of the water lines or water tanks that are in and behind here are protected from the elements. They've done a very good job of labeling everything here with that beautiful stainless background, so you always know what each knob and everything is doing on here. Little conveniences like your freshwater hose is also on a reel, so you don't have to have a tote to keep the freshwater hose in. Every drop of drinking water that comes through here comes through the whole house water filtration system. We have a great shower with hot and cold water out here. Easy winterization. The hose is already there, so you just turn these 2 valves and shove that hose down in a jug of RV antifreeze to start the winterization process. And then even little things like a touch screen out here for seeing what your tank levels are. You don't have to keep running inside to see, boy, is my freshwater tank almost full? No, you can tell exactly where your tanks are by looking at that gauge. Not only do we have a black tank rinse, which you would expect on a high-end motorhome, but it also has a gray tank rinse on it as well. If the gray tank gets funky, it can stink just as bad as a black tank, so nice to have that. Low point drains for your hot and cold drains are in here. And then there's 2 ways of dumping this coach, okay? Your primary way, I think, some people are in love with a macerator. I never really have been. I think they're great when you need one. But for the most part, I think gravity dump is still the way to go in most cases, and that's what we have here. Our dump is located outside, but all of our knife valves and everything are in the heated compartment in here, so they're very well protected. So you can still hook up to this and do a gravity dump just like you could on a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, anything else, and that's going to be your fastest and, in my opinion, easiest way to dump the tanks. If you need to go over a farther distance, this coach does have a macerator on it. Now, I mentioned earlier we have a macerating toilet. Excuse me, but you also have a macerator on the outlet here as well. So that's a second grinder, which I don't think you really need since you have a macerating toilet. But the bigger feature here would be the pump that's attached to it, because you can pump over, this is like 20 feet long, and then you can even hook a garden hose up to it, not your drinking water hose, a garden hose that is labeled for only one purpose, and you can actually hook that on here and go a much longer distance with it as well, even surprise your neighbors. So that's what a macerator is. Like I said, sometimes people may have a shop or something and they keep their motorhome parked inside, but they have a clean out they can dump into somewhere in their shop, but it might be on the opposite end of the shop. That's a perfect application for a macerator. But I think most of the time when you're on a campsite with a whole house or with an on-site sewer, I still think a gravity dump is a lot easier way to go. That's just one man's opinion, so take it for what it's worth. All right, as we continue further back here, we can get to our DEF tank. That is located right here. DEF stands for diesel exhaust fluid. If you're not familiar with that, any diesel engine manufactured since 2010 has to have that. It's part of the after treatment for the emissions of the engine. Diesel exhaust fluid, you use about a gallon of that for every 50 gallons of fuel that you use. Makes it a nice clean burning coach. And if you have questions about DEF, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it here because I think most people probably know what that is, but if not, don't hesitate. We want to answer all your questions. Give me a call and I can talk to you about all of that stuff. All right, let's move around to the back. Notice there's a radiator here, so we have a side radiator coach, which does a tremendous job of opening up the back of this motorhome. You can actually see your engine. I mean, I don't know, a very high percentage of diesel pushers, I'm not going to make up a number, but a very high percentage of diesel pushers, when you open up the back hatch, all you see is radiator back here. You might be able to check your fluids, but that's about it. You certainly couldn't get to your belt and check the tension on your belt or check the condition of your belt or even change your belt, but you could on here, so that's what makes it nice. You can get to the top of the engine as well, air cleaner, your hydraulic fluid, your Oasis fluid, it's all back here and very, very accessible. Now, this coach will even tow 10,000 pounds if you're flat towing. So, you know, horsepower and torque is not an issue. By the way, it's 450 horsepower and 1,250 foot-pounds of torque if you do want to know the specs on there. I'm going to shut this now. Okay. There we go. And then we even have a 7-way plug on here for our towability, and it's even plumbed to our air system so that if you have a air brake on a towed, it'll plug right into there. So the motorhome's already ready for that. All right, so that really covers our 2022 New Aire. This is for sale now. It's available. Don't forget, if you are interested in this, we put a lot of hard work into these videos. Do me a favor and ask for me. I want to be able to help you with this, and we'll figure this out. We do take trade-ins. Don't forget our St. Patty's Day extravaganza that we're having, where, like I said, we're going to have some celebrities right here. We even rolled out the red carpet. You think we're joking? We're not joking. We literally rolled out the red carpet. Look at that. All right, like our videos, subscribe to our page if you would, please, and thanks for watching. My name is Chris Anderson. I'm with Mount Comfort RV.